Yo, look at this. Oh my god. Oh, yo. Is this an angel or which creature is that? Good people of Earth, is that a movie? Please leave some comments on that.
Oh my god, I have never, ever in my life seen anything this creepy. There must be a dead fish in there.
I don't know, but oh, there's one over on the house there too.
And they are blocking access.
They're moving around.
Look at that, y'all. Check this. Y'all see these birds?
I have never,
Right.
ever in my
This
life
is literally a sign. This is an omen.
there must be a dead fish in
What are they telling us? Check it out. She says that there must be a dead fish. Ain't no bird does this over no dead fish, especially if they're not over the prey. Right? The birds are doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing, just like this Egyptian falcon is doing. Got their wings up. You see the wings are all colors, right? All these different type of colors, meaning getting these rays, these sun rays. As you can see in the talons, it got the unk on its talons, right? Because it's catching them, handing them at the same time, because got the red sun in his talon, the red sun on the top as well. I believe these birds are sending us some messages because animals communicate with us through these messages. We just don't understand what they mean because we have lost our method of communicating with these animals. And in order to understand what they're saying again, we must look at these signs and the symbols and try to understand or decipher what they mean. So I'm just sharing information with you guys. This video is strictly for entertainment purposes only. I am only raising awareness to interesting situations during these interesting times. Let me know what you guys think about this video. Like, comment, and share for more videos like this. You already know what to do, y'all. Thank you for tuning to my frequency. Let's get this shift. Peace in.
What could that be meaning, good people of Earth?
Everybody on earth needs to see this testimony. That's what the #1 comment on this video says. Now, I know a lot of people aren't going to watch this video because it's a long video, but just give it a shot. Give it a shot. See what the Spirit is saying to you as you watch this testimony, because I even tried to make this video shorter. And as I was watching the testimony, I was like, wow, I can't leave that out. I can't leave these things out. So I'm just going to show you this entire testimony. Get some coffee, get some tea, whatever you need. I got my tea ready. You know, fold some laundry, go walk your dog, do the dishes, clean the house, do something. Put this on, in the background in your earphones, whatever you got to do, but just give it a shot. All right. Because as I was watching it, it was really speaking to my spirit. And I pray that it does the same thing for y'all. All right. So the title of this testimony, it says, "A Call to Repentance Through a Testimony. Jesus is Coming Back." All right. Let's get into it.
Let me start by giving you a little bit of background. I come from Uganda. Uganda is found in Africa, East Africa, just between Kenya and Congo. Kenya on the east, Congo on the west, Sudan on the north, and Tanzania on the south. Our nation has known a lot of turmoil in the last few years. Let me say since independence. We got independence in 1962, and by 1966 we had the first overthrow of the government, and then everything went on, one thing leading to another. Then Idi Amin came in 1971 and was like one of the biggest dictators and tyrannical leaders in Africa. Then he went in 1979, and we had another leader called Milton Obote, and he ruled also with a civil war going on in the country. Idi Amin had torture chambers, took everybody who was educated, who was rich, and who was renowned, and he tried to kill everybody. So those who survived had to flee the country. But when Milton Obote came, there was insurrection, there was popular uprising against him. So what he did, he tried what is called the scorched earth policy, that is to wipe away the people in a particular area and try to empty it and bring other people to occupy. So there was a lot of bloodletting in the country. People were internally displaced into camps where they became refugees within their own countries, and a lot of suffering. I grew up under these two clouds. I remember when Idi Amin came to power. I still remember the day It was 1971, and I was just 9 years old. And so throughout his years, the 8 years of his reign, I was just growing into my teenage. He was overthrown in 1979. 1980, Milton Obote came on, and civil war started for the next 5 years. So all throughout my teenage, that was the kind of surrounding that I was growing in. Later on, Milton Obote was overthrown, and we had a government that began to bring healing to the land. And at that time, I had just entered into ministry. I was serving as an evangelist in one ministry, and I was assigned to go to the area that was called Luero Triangle. It was a combination of 3 big districts where the war had been taking place. And during the time as we were ministering, there were skeletons and skulls and bones, human bones, all over. Some were piled by the roadside for display. Others, when you entered the jungles, the bush, you just stumble upon bones and bones. The place which we used as a church was a community center building that was not finished. And to use it, we had to carry, like 80 skulls, human skulls, remove them and put them in one room. And then the bones, we put them in another room to be able to clear the hall. And then we used it as a church. This was the kind of background in which we were serving. But I want to give you a little bit of background before.
I'm going to try not to say too much, but he said they had to, as they were evangelizing, they would be going, from house to house or person to person on the street. And there would be piles of bodies and skulls and skeletons just towering on the side of the roads. And it's just crazy because we think that we're actually going through something in the United States, but these other countries are actually really going through stuff, and they're still standing firm on Christ, and they're still being disciples and going out and sharing the gospel. He said the community center that they would preach out of and use for ministry, they would have to literally move skulls out of the way and human bones out of the way in order to set up camp so that they can do their ministry. But we're concerned about a little bit of traffic on the way to church. We're concerned about when it rains, when it's cold, when it's too hot. But you have these people who are literally going through death in order to preach the gospel. I'm going to try not to say too much, but that really just touched me right there.
I come to the visitation of the Lord. In 1987, when I gave my life to ministry, I gave up my job to enter full-time ministry. And I just felt deep in my heart that God is calling me to go preach the gospel. I somehow had a sense, I will go to the nations and I'll take the word of God to the nations. But as I was still working, I was working in an import and export company. The Lord began to speak to me and say, I want you to live and walk by faith. I want you to trust nothing. I want you to depend on nothing, not even your own strength, your own wisdom, or your own understanding. I want you to give it all to me and live by faith. But my understanding of what living by faith was very narrow. I thought he wanted me to give up my job and that he would take care of me financially, which I did. I went and resigned from my job. I was working as an executive director of the company. I gave it up. And I went into pastoring. But he kept speaking to me and said, I want you to live by faith, which means you've got to give me everything and take everything I give you. And I didn't know that concept of faith. And I'll come back to that later. But I was pastoring this church for it was a new church we had just started, and I stayed there as a pastor for about 8 months. I loved the people. It was a small congregation, about 40 people. We had to get a new patch of land, find poles, try and put up a shelter, and I did everything with them, and I loved it. I was getting so fond of each of them. Then one night, as I slept, I had a dream, and this dream came again a second time, and then a third time, And in the dream, someone was telling me, you need to go back. It was outside our city, Kampala. So he said, you need to go back to Kampala because the Lord has got work for you. And the first time I heard it, I woke up and I felt, that cannot be God. He brought me here. I'm just starting this work, and I believe to develop this work, and the church is going to grow, and I have committed myself. I'm going to be here. But the dream came again the second time, then came a third time. It was a Saturday night. So Sunday morning, I'll go to church, and a brother from the church, like the one that sent me to this place, comes to visit. And he prays with us. We have lunch with him, and then he said, John, I had a dream. And I shared with the pastor, and he told me to come and share with you. But please don't mistake me. It's not from my own desire. I just want to tell you what I got. I said, tell me. I said, I had a dream, and someone was telling me, go to Gayaza where John is and take over the work that he's doing, because I want him back here. I said, please don't misunderstand me. It's not just... But I said, I know, I understand what you're saying. I had a similar dream. I told him my dream. And then we went together to Kampala and shared with our pastor. I said, Pastor, give me about 3 months to prepare the people and hand over. Which he did.
Oh man, that's an interesting story, man.
150 years ago, you didn't have to ask permission from the government to go fishing, own a property, build on your property, renovate your home, use a transportation vehicle, start a business, get married, own a weapon, hunt, cut hair, sell a product, protest, grow your own food, sell that food that you grew on your own property, or even just set up a lemonade stand. And now, you virtually can't do anything without asking for the government's permission first. So if you still think you're free, you're deluding yourself. Hate to break it to you, but you're a free-range human in a tax farm.
This is a condition that's called polydactyly. This happens congenitally when an extra digit forms either on the radial, ulnar, or central part of the hand. Treatment often occurs in early infancy and is done by a hand surgeon.
How is that possible? Oh my god.
Homes were
Sure,
completely
no,
done away
no,
with by the 3000s. Pods they're like homes, but a lot smaller, airtight, sealed. They don't affix to the ground. They use magnetic technology. So basically, you flip a switch, it locks. You flip off the switch, it unlocks. And this is done for transportation purposes. Robots are primarily used for labor positions. AI, which you have already started to implement in your time, but we use on a much larger scale.
The first story I read about you, you were arrested for stealing food. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, that was the first day I got here, actually. I wasn't aware of your customs here yet. You see, in the future, things like fruit, water, some vegetables, they're free in the marketplaces. We have what's called nourishment centers, where basically you're allowed up to 3 items at no cost. And fruit, you never have to pay for. So it's just a simple misunderstanding, really. Oh, and water. I still can't get over the fact that you guys pay for water to be bottled up here. Your time makes history in so many ways.
After our interview, I found myself pretty amazed. I'm not saying I'm a believer at this point. I mean, anyone can make up a story, but I have to admit it. It's a pretty good story. After a few days went by, I thought of a million more questions I wanted to ask. I found myself wanting more information about the supposed future. And more importantly, I wanted to push for more proof, something that can point to the truth. I really wanted to know, is this guy from the future, or is it all just a story?
So I'm on my way to an interview with Sebastian, and I've noticed something strange. Ever since I left the house, this same car has been following me. And I'm 100% sure it's the same car because when I stopped to get gas, it stopped. And then when I left, it followed. So it's either a coincidence or I'm being followed.
Oh my god, that's very scary. Is that
one
true?
of a 2,000-year-old baobab tree that's growing out of the stone walls, one of the stone ruins in Zimbabwe. And our brilliant historians and archaeologists can't contemplate, because these stone walls could not have been built 2,000 years ago because there was nobody there living there 2,000 years ago, according to our history books. So the story they come up with is that the tribe that lived here had a strange tradition to build their walls into the tree. So that's how they get away with it. And the patina growth on the rocks and the tools and the artifacts tells us a very important story. The patina is that reddish skin that grows on the rock. Once it breaks, it exposes that black stone on the inside, the Hornfels rock, the Hornfels stone that's metamorphosized quartzite. And once that rock breaks, or you mold it or shape it into a tool or an artifact, that black rock then starts to grow patina on it. And it has to be really, really old, because the patina ranges between just visible with the naked eye to several millimeters thick. And this patina grows very slowly. So when you find a tool or an artifact that's covered in patina, suggests that that was made a long, long, long time ago for that patina to have grown and covered that entire tool or artifact. Paintings and rock carvings, actually, these are not rock carvings. The mysterious rock paintings, and this is a new discovery, and again, the new tours that I do will also go to look at these amazing new discoveries. What's fascinating about these, by the way, is because this is not carved into the rock, this is painted onto the rock with some sort of chemical, who knows what it is, and we need to find out what the hell they used. Because when you look at this particular rock painting, you see it was painted across a crack. Now I have to assume that the artist that did this would not have painted it over a crack. He would have painted it over a beautiful flat clear stone. And the crack happened after the painting was made. When you look at the crack, you see that the patina has grown into the crack. It's filled the crack. You can't even see the color of the rock. Normally when a rock cracks, you can see that the patina is like a millimeter or whatever, and then you see the black rock underneath. You can't see any of that. It's completely filled the crack. So that suggests to me that that rock painting was done a long time ago for the patina to have been able to grow into the crack. So we're dealing with a very ancient painting. The question is, what bloody kind of magic paint that they use that the patina doesn't grow over the paint, but it grows into the crack? I want to find out what that bloody chemistry is all about. And we can. We seem to have really advanced technology. We just need to do it. But to do that, we need three things. The determination, time, and money.
What are fallen angels? They may not be what you think they are. If you break down the words fallen angels, it means fallen angle of light. It's an etymology. Consciousness is light. We are all light beings. Whether you are a negative or a positive person, we are all made up of light. Just like how we are all made up of parts of darkness as well. So all fallen angels means is just different types of entities that have fallen into a denser realm called the 3D world or the 4D world or whatever is denser to them. Now, the background photo, you're probably wondering why I have it there. Well, fallen angels are actually fallen extraterrestrial beings or aliens. And the fallen, there's a reason why there's a negative connotation to them. It's because they are not here for humanity. They don't want to help us. They're here to kind of screw us over and enslave us. Now, there are also good extraterrestrials. Those are what you would call the more angelic ones. The ones that are more in tune with their empathy and their law of one consciousness, meaning that they understand everything is one, so they don't do harm to others. All these religious texts, especially the Gnostic ones, ancient Gnostic Christian teachings, talk about archons or fallen angels or these evil entities that are casting illusions onto this realm, and you can blame certain extraterrestrial species for this. Now, we all know about the Greys. The Greys are one of them. The reptilians are a huge part of it as well, so are the Anunnaki. And whoever is an Anunnaki fan, I know you're going to come for my throat. The Anunnaki did not create us. That's a lie. History is written by the winners. What the Anunnaki did was destroy the original human template. The original human template was closer to being 12th dimensional. And they shut us down to being 3rd and 2nd dimensional, to use us as like their slaves. And the Anunnaki are still here, by the way. A lot of these royal families are connected to the reptilian and Anunnaki bloodlines. And for legal reasons, I have to say this video is a joke and everything I'm saying is bullshit. Anyway, these fallen angels, what they did was they broke away from the original law of one, the thing that bound us all together to create empathy, to create a centered heart chakra. They broke away from it with their own free will. And they have decided to just colonize every other place in existence, and Earth being one of them. Humanity was never supposed to be a part of this unfortunate game that these fallen angels, fallen extraterrestrials have played. And the whole point of me doing what I do is to help people ascend out of here. There is a way out of this hellish realm called the 3D world on Earth. And the first step to breaking out of this matrix in your mind and in the physical is to not fall for the illusions of what these creatures have created. And this is your entertainment business. This is obscene capitalism, obscene lust, just all of the 7 sins, but like to the max. Avoid that at all costs. The good news is there are more angelic, friendly extraterrestrials here that are trying to lead you the way, lead you the right way. But there's another polarizing aspect, which is these guys. It is up to your own personal choice as to who you want to listen to, because there are signs and synchronicities and symbols everywhere for you to follow. You either choose the left-hand path or the right-hand path, but the most difficult path that you can choose is the middle path.
When the study was concluded in '64, they concluded that there were 4 different groups apparently coming and visiting us. Out of those 4 different groups, one group looked exactly like we do. So much so that they could sit beside you in a restaurant, or in an airplane, or in a theater, and you'd never know. Some of these people from somewhere could be walking up and down the corridors of SHAPE headquarters, or they could be walking up and down the corridors of the Pentagon. One day at lunch, a lieutenant colonel made the remark, he says, Jesus, do you realize they could even be in the White House?
What do they look like? They look like us. I think that they were created or summoned, whatever, brought in because I was so combative because of my fear of these creatures that did not look human.
Let's say that they knew for a fact that aliens are walking among us, quite literally. They're appearing as people, but they're not people.
They could be avatars, for example. Avatars would walk among us.
And we wouldn't know that they're not a real person.
That was the basis of the movie. We saw it. I mean, they're just like the aliens. And they were introduced because the aliens would freak out if, of course, aliens from outer space landed on them. So they create avatars that look just like the...
Humans weren't meant to see. Recently has been going viral the possibility of an ice wall surrounding our planet, and now scientists have found some kind of proof, as these biblical stones are coming out everywhere, and what this means for our world is terrifying. People were shocked after blue stones, referring to sky ice, were discovered in Antarctica. These stones resemble the same objects that Ezekiel mentions in the Bible, claiming what the firmament or the dome of the earth is made of, saying the firmament material would appear like sapphire or blue stone. But how this was found is even more insane, as decades ago, a scientist leaked info about the discovery of sky ice after years of research in Antarctica, claiming that the government has sealed all this away, knowing this could lead to terrifying changes in our planet and science, with him saying that the government had found an entire ice wall made out of the biblical sky ice, the same ice wall that the pancake Earth believers say is in Antarctica, possibly proving that the Earth may be a lot bigger with many more continents than we could ever know on the other side. With any scientific discovery, we need to look at the concrete evidence, and satellite images still point to a frisbee Earth not existing, and likely nothing beyond an ice wall. But wouldn't it be crazy?
One of the weirdest verses in the Bible that I think might be dealing with literal extraterrestrial hybridization and gifting humanity the light back to humanity is actually found in one of the most famous verses of all time in John 3:16. Check this out. Warning, once you get this, you can't go back. Like, you can't go back to the old way of reading this verse or other scriptures. Once you see how I do this, you're going to start doing it every single day, and it will literally change your life. But again, be warned, you have to deconstruct a whole lot and let go of a whole lot of things emotionally, with the way you were raised, with your belief system. So here we go. John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believes in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. Okay, we've all heard that. You probably heard it 1,000 times at church. I know I did. Not only did I grow up in the church, but I also worked in ministry for many, many years. This verse always meant the same thing to me. Jesus was unalived for my sins because I'm a dirty, rotten sinner, and that's why I'm going to go to heaven someday. However, as a fully deconstructed individual, by the way, this is not a religious channel whatsoever. I am and forever will be exploring the actual supernatural experiences that everyday people like you and I have all the time, not just reserved for Bible times, but I believe is still happening today. If you vibe with that, follow for more in the series. Now, what I think this verse actually means is hidden within the Greek text. The word Jesus uses for God is theos, which actually means supreme divinity, aka the supreme being or consciousness of the entire universe. Now, this is not unlike the word Elohim used in the Old Testament. However, Elohim is really used for the gods in a lot of ways, and the word theos is really denoting divinity, either in general form or in the supreme divinity form. And of course, when Jesus used it, he was using it in the supreme divinity form. Here's where it gets weird. He gave his only begotten son. Now, only begotten here does not just mean only like we've been told. It actually comes from the Greek word monogenes, which means one of a kind or unique. The word huion, which is son, actually means kinship. So we can reread the verse as, the supreme divinity so loved the cosmos that he gave unique kinship, that whoever believes in himself shall have perpetual life. And him comes from the word auton, meaning the self.
Oh my god, that's some scary stuff, man. Good people of Earth. Thank you very much for watching up to this part. And even being tolerant of watching me eat some maize here in some type of way. You see, that's good vibes, man. Respect to yourself. Kindly. Always hit the like button, the super thanks, leave some comments, and kindly. I'd like to see who would be the first person to grab some stuff in our merchandise shop. You see, that shop has been running for almost ages right now, and imagine there have been no visitor. I'm sure even the people there in charge of the AI is wondering, what is the essence of this shop if no one is buying something? You see, good people of Earth, please, if you can be touched and do something there, please do it. You see, you will still be rewarded by the universe. Thank you very much. You are loved and respected. And always stay tuned here for some 5 episodes that will be coming on. You see, we are one. Goodbye. Good vibes. We are out.